It began with a smile that carried too much confidence. Not disrespectful, not loud, just certain. A Chinese kung fu master stood before a small international group of martial artists, hands folded behind his back, posture perfect. Decades of training showed in the way he breathed, the way he stood, the way others listened when he spoke. Someone mentioned Filipino martial arts. He chuckled softly. Very fast, he said. Very energetic. Then paused. But too simple, too raw, no refinement. A few people nodded, others shifted uncomfortably. Across the room, a Filipino martial artist said nothing. He didn't frown, didn't argue, didn't defend his system. He just listened. What followed would surprise everyone there, including the man who laughed. Filipino martial arts were never meant to impress observers. They weren't born in temples or palaces. They weren't preserved for aesthetics or lineage charts. They were born in alleys, on beaches, in fields, in moments where hesitation meant injury or death. Kali, Eskrima, Arnis. These systems grew from necessity, shaped by invasion, resistance, and survival. When swords were banned, Filipinos trained with sticks. When sticks were watched, they trained with empty hands. When weapons were gone, they used whatever remained. Adaptation was not a philosophy, it was instinct. But to outsiders, especially those raised in long formal traditions, Filipino martial arts often looked unpolished, too direct, too aggressive, too practical. The kung fu master had spent his life refining form. Every movement balanced, every strike part of a sequence. Years dedicated to flow, structure, and internal power. So when he laughed, it wasn't cruelty. It was comparison. The Filipino martial artist finally spoke. Would you like to feel it? He asked calmly. The room went quiet. No challenge in his voice, no pride, just an offer. They agreed on light contact, controlled sparring. No points, no audience expectations, just movement. They bowed. The kung fu master moved first, smooth, circular, elegant. His hands flowed like water, redirecting space, testing distance. Everything about him spoke of discipline and years of refinement. The Filipino martial artist didn't mirror him. He stayed loose, hands open, weight shifting constantly. He didn't wait for a perfect opening. He created discomfort. Short entries, sudden angles, hands checking arms, shoulders, hips. Nothing dramatic, nothing flashy, just interruption. The kung fu master frowned slightly. His flow was being broken. Each time he tried to settle into rhythm, something disrupted it. A quick tap to the forearm, a sudden step inside his structure, a hand already occupying space he thought was clear. They reset. Again. This time the kung fu master increased speed. Sharper strikes, more pressure. The Filipino martial artist responded by getting closer. Too close. Inside the range where beautiful forms lose room to breathe. A light strike landed on the ribs, then another on the shoulder, then a controlled sweep that could have taken the legs. The room grew quiet. No one spoke. The kung fu master stepped back, breathing heavier now. This is not how kung fu fights, he said. The Filipino martial artist nodded. This is not how we fight either, he replied. This is how we survive. They talked. The Filipino explained that Filipino martial arts assume chaos. Multiple attackers, weapons appearing suddenly, uneven ground, fatigue, fear. They don't aim to dominate. They aim to escape alive. That's why movements are short, why strikes target limbs, why entries are sudden, why rhythm is constantly broken. The kung fu master listened. Then he surprised everyone. Again, he said, but teach me what you're doing. This time, the Filipinos slowed everything down, showed how angles replace force, how hands check instead of block, how pressure is applied just enough to create openings. The kung fu master tried it, awkwardly at first, then better, and then he smiled again. But this time, it was different, not amused. Impressed. I thought refinement meant adding, he said quietly. But this removes everything unnecessary. By the end of the session, there was no laughter, no mockery, only mutual respect. The kung fu master bowed deeply, not as formality, but acknowledgement. What shocked everyone wasn't that Filipino martial arts worked. It was that they worked precisely because they didn't look impressive. They weren't designed to win admiration. They were designed to end danger. In the end, no one's tradition was diminished that day. Instead, something rare happened. Two systems met, not to compete, but to understand, and one laugh turned into a lesson that stayed far longer than any bruise. Because sometimes what looks simple is only simple because it works.